Hi again, everyone. Pastor Brandon here. So thankful that you've tuned in for this next episode in our series of videos where we're highlighting different ways that we can navigate life together in this coronavirus world. And I'm excited about this video today because it gives us a way to highlight ways for people to serve within the community. I'm joined here by Pat Schwartz and Laurie Mueller-Comilla, both of Love Inc. of Lake County. They've been great ministry partners with us, not just at Village Church, but in other churches. Thanks to both of you for being a part of this today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Pat, I'll start off with a question for you. Certainly there's always needs in our community, but how have you seen people's needs or situations change since the COVID-19 outbreak hit?
Yeah, great question. I think the thing that's most remarkable is the degree of isolation, loneliness, and fear that we've seen with people. So many of the most vulnerable don't really have access to the kind of sources of information that many of us who have. They may not have internet and things like that. So there's word of mouth that's passing things around that it's just not accurate. And so in a lot of cases that really creates an additional sense of uncertainty, and it's heartbreaking to see that happen in a lot of places. I think the things that we've seen are also just huge increase in need for food, and then demands on housing. Obviously, people trying to isolate and things like that. So the demand on food pantries has more than doubled, and while the supply of food available has decreased dramatically because of the amount of the hoarding that's gone on in grocery stores and things. And so that has challenged budgets of some of the agencies in the county, and it's likely to be a lasting impact for a while. So I think those are the things that are most remarkable that we've seen.
Laurie, is there anything that you would follow up with, perhaps things that might fly underneath the radar or may be less obvious to people at first glance?
Yeah, sure. Good question. So Pat mentioned that food and housing are really kind of the immediate crisis needs right now. So giving food is probably an obvious answer, but maybe where the locations to donate may not be quite as obvious. Many townships have food pantries. Their shelves are empty right now. We're connected with, obviously, the Northern Illinois Food Bank, but they're supporting a number of smaller churches and food pantries that supplement what they get from Northern Illinois Food Bank. So those locations would also need support. Because of the shift in the ministry model, going to the drive-up food boxes as opposed to having people come in and shop, or however the food pantry served before, there's actually a shortage of cardboard boxes for these food pantries as well, to be able to pack the food up and to be able to safely distribute it. So that was kind of a hidden, kind of an unintended consequence, I think, of the change in the ministry model. Another need that's going to come up pretty soon is as the stay-at-home orders are lifted and hospitals and medical clinics go back to doing what's been considered elective procedures and surgeries and things like that, there's going to be a surge in the need for blood. And so finding a local blood bank or a mobile blood drive, some churches are doing that within the next few weeks, and helping the blood bank stock up for when surgeries and things start again is something that I haven't heard that talked about too much, but it's absolutely going to become a need this summer. And then probably a third place is helping our neighbors get connected to some of the benefits that our government is sharing. A lot of the news sources make it sound like things are just going to happen. The money's just going to pop into your bank account. But for some of the most vulnerable of our neighbors, they might actually need to take a couple of steps to make that happen. So we're working with our agencies to try to identify who that might be, and then figuring out ways to make sure that these neighbors get connected to those resources that can really make a tremendous difference in their lives.
Are there any ways that might be counterproductive to help? At first glance, somebody might think with the best of intentions, this would be a good way to help, but it might actually backfire in unintended ways.
Yeah, that's a good question too. So in our emergency situation right now, obviously filling that immediate need is absolutely the right thing to do, and to give the stuff to meet that crisis need. But as we're doing that, we absolutely have to make sure that that we're doing that with the care and the comfort that's needed in this situation. That we're seeing the people that are coming to our doors, we're seeing the people that we're serving as fellow children of God that just happen to be in a different circumstance. So making sure that along with that box of food, that we're sharing prayer, that we're sharing a word of comfort, that we're doing that just with the love of Christ in all that we do. And then as we move past this immediate crisis, making sure that we're moving past the giving stuff, meeting that immediate need, but helping people move into ways that are meaningful for them, where everybody's built with talents, and God's built us all with unique ways that we can serve, and to make sure that then the loving volunteers are there to come alongside our neighbors and to be able to bridge into the resources that our neighbors need in order to help continue to move themselves and their families along into the lives that God's intended for them.
Pat, a question for you, for the people who are looking for ways to serve right now, ways that are helpful and constructive, opportunities that are present, so that you see both now and for the foreseeable future. How best can you direct people to get involved?
Well, it kind of comes back to the things we've mentioned before, housing and food. The thing to know is this is a fluid situation. The needs ebb and flow as the various responses are made by the community to the needs of agencies. We're on the phone a couple of times a week with the other human service agencies in the county, and we're updating each other constantly on what's happening. So if anyone does have an interest in any of these, they need to check with those agencies on their websites. We are going to be posting on it will be on our website a list of serving opportunities at various agencies. One would be the Northern Illinois Food Bank. It supplies most of the food to pantries and other sources of food in the area for those in need. And they need volunteers at their Park City Distribution Center to sort and pack boxes of food for delivery at these mobile sites that are now the norm for food pantries. Individual agency partners also are making distributions of food, and they need assistance in sorting and actually making the deliveries. Need to point out that all of these are done in as safe a manner as possible with social distancing and security, so concerns about the safety are minimized as much as possible in this case. So those were a couple of the big things. A couple of other ones that I would throw out, and a couple of these are ones that you might even be able to do from home. There's an organization called Elder Care that responds to or helps seniors in the community, normally giving rides to them and providing home visits and things like that. Those obviously have stopped during this. Isolation and loneliness of these people is very tangible. So Elder Care is recruiting volunteers to make calls to these people a couple of times a week. Just check in with them, give them a friendly voice, and to talk about what's happening, and to help give them good information in some cases, and hear about what their needs might be. Then you can pass those on to Elder Care, and they will see that the appropriate resources get to those people. Another thing that can be done that's a little bit different, there are people that have the talents in sewing and things like that. Cancer Treatment Centers of America in Zion has put out a call for masks for visitors at their facility. All of their masks are being used for the medical personnel, but here these cancer patients are, and any visitor needs to be wearing a mask. And so family and friends that want to be there, they cannot go in unless they have these masks. And so what a horrible thing to be already battling cancer and not have your loved ones be able to come in. So there are ways to providing masks to the cancer treatment centers is one way that people can do things from home. Again, the Elder Care, the calls could be done from home as well. I would say some of the other things to do is be praying for every aspect of this, for the healthcare workers, for the people providing these services, for the people that are in your stores that are helping to keep you fed. and just for the illnesses, and the list goes on and on. So the other thing you can do is give. The demands on these agencies that are housing people that are normally in their shelters, they're housing them in hotels at this point, and that's busting their budgets. It's a huge drain. There's just hundreds of people around the county that are being put up in hotels, and food is being delivered to them. So financially supporting some of these agencies, like a Safe Place, some of the women's shelters, the Haven, PADS, all of those are in need of additional support and funds. And one thing to consider is, if you're going to receive a stimulus check and you are blessed where it's not something that you need, then think about providing some of that to help those that are in greater need at this point. So those are some of the ideas that we'd have for people off the top of our head, Brando. So.
Well, certainly unlimited need, but also unlimited opportunity for the people of Christ to show and tell the love of Jesus to people during this time. And we're so thankful for the ways that you all loving partner with our church and with other local churches here. Thank you so much for the work you continue to do. We'll be praying for you even as we're praying for our community. And I just want to thank you again for spending this time with us today. So Pat Schwartz, Laurie Mueller-Comilla from Loving of Lake County, thank you both. And for those of you who are watching, we invite you to log on to our church's website at vcgurnee.org for more information. If you'd like to learn more about any of these resources or other topics that we're covering in this series, we hope that you'll check that out. Thanks once again. For Pat and Laurie, I'm Brandon. Have a great day. God bless you all.